Okay, so in a recent development update for the Quad Cortex, we started getting more details about what's coming in the CorOS 3.1 release. And as many of us have known for a while, one of the things coming is plugin compatibility for the Soldano SLO100X plugin. And this is another one of those situations where you've got the plugin, you've already got models on the Quad Cortex for this amp, you've also got some pretty high quality captures out there, and it kind of begs the question of kind of looking at the plugin, and is it something that we really want to look at? So what I want to do today is a couple things. Let's just kind of look at the plugin kind of at a high level, run through some of the devices, hear how it sounds, and then let's compare it to the models that are on the Quad Cortex. And also I purchased a Soldano capture pack from Amalgam, so we'll compare to those as well. So we're going to compare the paid plugin to the paid captures to the models that come with the device. So for this demo, I'm using my Quad Cortex as my interface here. And if you're not familiar with how I set this up, I did a whole video on this when I first checked out the Pliny plugin. I'll link to it here. In that video, I walked through all the details about how this is set up and how I'm running this into my computer. But let's go ahead and jump over to the plugin. And if we look at what's here, it's pretty straightforward. Amp-wise, we've got one amp. It's got two channels, and the normal channel has a clean mode and a crunch mode. It also has a bright switch. You've got separate preamp controls for each channel and separate master controls for each channel, and then a shared bass, middle, treble, presence, depth. On the cab side, you've got one cab, and you can have two different mics. You've got a choice of 6 mics. These mics should be pretty familiar with anyone who's used the Neural DSP stuff. You've got an EQ, you've got digital delay, and a reverb on the back end. On the front end, you've got a compressor, 2 overdrives. One's more of a boost, one's kind of a overdrive, not super gainy, and then you've got a chorus. So let's go ahead and check this out. Right now, I'm on the clean channel. Bright switch is off, and it's sounding like this. So a nice clean. If we go to crunch mode, I'm gonna have to bring down the output. We're still in the normal channel, but now we're starting to get some crunch. Not tons, but a nice kind of bluesy tone. Maybe we could even add a bright switch. On the front end, if we could add in, let's say we'll add in the compressor and the chorus. So here's just kind of a we can check out some of the drives. If we go to the boost, you can hear even at kind of 80% up, not tons of gain. We check out the drive 2. More gain here. The nice thing about this one is it has the switch that allows you to do kind of a low cut. So without a low cut, I don't know if it's a low cut or if it's doing kind of a top end boost. So this is something that I've seen added to several of the drive pedals for some of the plugins. I think they added it to the Nolly as well. So it's a feature I like, and I'm hoping they start bringing that in on some of the model overdrives on the Quad Cortex. Well, let's go ahead and gain up the amp a little bit. And here we're still in the normal channel, but we've gone to the crunch mode. So just kind of a nice light breakup kind of tone. If we go ahead and add in the drive pedal in front of that, so a lot of good gainy sounds without getting too high gain. If we want the higher gain stuff, we go more onto the overdrive channel here. And you can see when I do that, the bright switch and the clean crunch, those are disabled, and we're really just using the drive from the amp here. And here we could turn the drive down here and just kind of use this for tone shaping. Or we could use the boost with a compressor in front of it. Just so that's just kind of a quick run through of kind of the plugin. Let's switch over to the Quad Cortex and hear some of the tones there. So what I've got here is a preset that's got 4 of the captures that come from the Amalgam pack. One's a clean, one's an edge of breakup, one's kind of a driven with a tube scraper in front of it, and the other one's just like a gainier sound. They're all using a Marshall 4x12 cab. And I've got a low high cut here, really just to tame some of the boomy low end and some of the top end here. Just I find with these captures that have cabs built in, that having the low and high cut kind of helps you shape the tone a little bit. And then down here, we've got same versions of the same tones, but with the models that come here. So we've got a 100 crunch normal for the clean and the edge. For the rhythm, I'm adding an 808, just like on the capture. And then for lead, we're going to the solo 100 lead model. So let's go ahead and check out the cleans here. So here's the Amalgam capture. And here's a similar clean tone from the model. And for these model zones, I'm using a single impulse response. It's a Marshall 4x12. This is a IR from Amalgam, so I'm trying to keep it somewhat similar. If we switched over to one of the 4x12s on the Quad Cortex, get a little bit of a warmer sound from the V30s here. But just to keep it consistent, we're going to stick with the Marshall cab. So let's switch back over to the clean tone on the plugin and compare it. So I feel like we're getting kind of a fuller low end here. Back. I think part of it may be that we don't have access to the clean setting on the Soldano amp from the models. We only have the crunch setting. So we can keep the gain pretty low, but we're still going to get a little bit of breakup there. So again, I think the clean tones from the plugins kind of getting much fuller kind of tones from the plugin on the clean. But let's go ahead and switch over to kind of that edgier tone. All right, and we switch over. So I think in general, again, a fuller tone. So let's go ahead and check out the leads. So here's the lead for the capture. We do the model. Sounds a little kind of more mid-focused. But let's go check out the plugin. So let's try one last thing. Let's put the same IR we're using onto the plugin. Go here, we're going to turn that off. Here, we're going to go ahead and load a custom IR. All right, so you can see we've got 75 pulse sonic mix, same IR. If we switch back to the Quad Cortex, same setting, same IR. So pretty close there. Overall, I will say, if I was to rank the three sets of tones, I like how the plugin sounds best. The models would be second for me. I think the captures suffer. I think part of that is the fact that the captures have built-in cabs. I never end up liking those captures very much. I don't end up using those captures very much. The Amalgam captures I have that are older, that were DI captures, I always prefer those. I'm happy to see that it seems like more recently they've been going back to DI captures. For a while, they were only doing captures with the cabs included. I think it's a much better idea to have the DI captures. You run through your own IRs. I think it sounds better. But in this case, I think plugin sounds the best. I think the models sound pretty good. And I think the captures are kind of at the bottom of the totem pole for me. I do think that you could probably get the models pretty close to where the plugin is, but I do think that if you really, really like these kind of Soldano tones, the plugin might be worth investing in. You might be able to get kind of a clear, fuller tone from those. Assuming it ports over consistently, you might get a better tone out of the plugin compatibility than you will from what's already on the Quad Cortex. So I always find it interesting, when we're talking about the plugin compatibility, to think about, what are we getting really from the plugin compatibility? For someone who already owns the Quad Cortex and maybe hasn't invested in the plugin, is the plugin worth looking at? In this case, if you want these kinds of tones, I think it is worth maybe checking out. As always, thanks for watching.